What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another gun guide. This is the series where I go into great detail with all of the stats as well as some excellent attachment combinations for every gun in Modern Warfare 3. And in today's episode, we're going to be covering the brand new SMG that came with Season 4. This is the Superi 46. And starting it off as always, let's have a look at our damage profile. And with this gun, assuming you're hitting the bonus zone, which includes all of the torso as well as the arms, it's going to be a 4 to 6 shot kill. In saying that though, it is a bit on the unforgiving side. Within that maximum damage range, if you want that 4-shot kill, every single shot is going to have to hit that bonus zone. If you mix a single leg shot in, it's now going to take you 5 shots to kill. As for headshots, we do deal a decent amount of damage to the head, but in the maximum damage range, headshots are never going to change the number of shots to kill compared to torso shots. And therefore, headshots are really only capable of helping in the second damage range as well as the last damage range, so really long ranges. And as a result, generally speaking, it's not worth aiming for the head with this gun. As for our rate of fire, this is 667 rounds per minute, which is a little bit faster than the Striker 45, and I will be bringing several comparisons in with that gun since this is quite comparable to the Striker 45. But what this means for our time to kill potential is with a 4-shot kill, it's 270 milliseconds, which is right around average for an SMG and not a bad time to kill at all. And then it will increase up to 450 milliseconds once you get into that 6-shot kill at longer ranges. And speaking of ranges, as we can see here, our 4-shot kill potential is just under 19 meters, which is not bad at all for an SMG. And then our 5-shot kill potential, this actually extends a little over 40 meters. Now, something to point out here is the in-game advanced stats state that our minimum damage range is actually 50.5 meters. That's incorrect based on my in-game testing. Instead, the actual drop-off point is about 41.4 meters. And when we put this side by side against the Striker, you can see here that our 4-shot kill potential isn't quite as good as the Striker 45, but it does kill faster within that 4-shot kill range due to the higher fire rates, and our 5-shot kill potential is significantly better than the Striker. And then finally, another area where this gets a leg up is this doesn't drop off to a 7-shot kill like the Striker does at longer ranges. So while there is a brief window where the Striker 45 will outclass the Superi 46, that is a fairly small window in the grand scheme of things. And that's not to mention our bullet velocity. We actually have best-in-class bullet velocity here with this at 630 meters per second. That's incredible for an SMG. As for hardcore game modes, from 0 to 19 meters, it's going to be a 1-shot kill anywhere in the body. And then from 19 meters up to that 41.5 meters, it's still going to have a 1-shot kill potential, but you can't hit the legs. It'll be a 2-shot to the legs, and then anything beyond that range will be a 2-shot kill to the body. After that, let's have a look at Hipfire, and while our minimum Hipfire spread is just standard for SMGs, our maximum spread is just 5 degrees, and this is the best out of all of the Modern Warfare 3 SMGs, and that's really saying something because the SMG class already has great Hipfire, and this is the best of them. Now, this brings us into Recoil, and as we can see here, it kicks upward and to the right. Doesn't have an extreme magnitude of recoil by any means, but there's a fair amount of drift to the right. So you may want to focus on some attachments to get that horizontal recoil under control. And another thing is, it does bounce around a decent amount side to side as it follows that recoil path. Now, I wouldn't call this a massive deviation off the path or anything, and generally you can control this recoil just fine, but if you're going for a more accurate build, I'd definitely focus on getting that gun kick under control as well. Next, let's get into our handling stats, and our aim down sight time is pretty much average for SMGs at 200 milliseconds, and our sprint to fire time is also basically average at 110 milliseconds for our standard sprint out time and 210 milliseconds for our tactical sprint out time. As for our reload add time, this is quite fast at just 1.17 seconds, and that's good to know. You don't really need to run extended mags or the mag holster perk or anything. You can get that reload in quite fast by default. And then finally, for the base stats of the Superi 46, let's have a look at our movement speeds. And when it comes to our base movement speed, there's nothing out of the ordinary here. It's pretty standard for an SMG. Our sprint speed is fairly quick though, at 5.9 meters per second. And most importantly here, we have the best base aim walking speed in the SMG category at 3.6 meters per second. And that's a great starting point that you can build off for some pretty crazy strafe builds. And there we go. Now that we have all the base stats out of the way, let's get into some excellent attachment combinations I put together for you guys. Keeping in mind, there's actually quite a few ways that you can build this and have a really solid gun on your hands. But the first one I wanted to share is my accuracy build. And with this one, we're using the Hound Guard Heavy Barrel, the Trebuchet Brake, the FTAC SP10 Angled Grip, the Jack Glassless Optic, and then finally the Tracer Tac Stock. And with this combination, you can see our recoil becomes a lot more consistent. It's still going to have the same general pattern, but we did eliminate a lot of that horizontal drift to the right. It definitely kicks more straight upwards, not fully straight up, but more straight than the base gun. There's also noticeably less side-to-side deviation off of that path due to getting our gun kick under control, and there's a little bit less vertical magnitude as well, but the vertical recoil really isn't the problem with this gun. It's mainly horizontal and that side-to-side bounce, and this is going to be quite accurate in this case. As for sacrifices here, our aim down sight speed is going to be a little bit slower at 216 milliseconds, but that's still a great aim down sight time in this game. And it's a similar story with our sprint out speed. Yes, it's a bit slower than the base gun, but it's still very solid at 134 milliseconds. Now, when it comes to the additional benefits with these attachments, we get a 10% range increase. Our bullet velocity is insanely good for an SMG at 800 meters per second, so you can really stretch those ranges out. And because of that stock that we used, I also improved the flinch resistance on this, which is going to make those face-to-face gunfights at longer ranges that much easier to handle. So that's the first one, and an excellent choice if you want a little more versatility out of this gun, so you can really stretch those ranges out if needed. Next, I wanted to share my Stealth and Strafe build, and this one is really fun to use. This is actually my personal favorite at the moment. With this, we're using the Atal Z4 suppressed barrel, the FTAC MSP98 hand stop, the Mark III reflector optic, the Jack Cutthroat stock, and then finally the Sakin ZX grip. And with this combination, it's not really built for recoil, but the recoil is still very manageable with this. That's totally fine for a gun like this. We're not really going to be stretching our ranges out too much. It's primarily made for close to mid ranges. Our aim down sight speed is 208 milliseconds, just slightly slower than the base. Same thing with our sprint out time, very, very slightly slower than the base. One key downside with this is we do lose 15% to our range value, but that's all worth it in my opinion because we do get a very good aim down sight strafe speed. Not many guns can reach this level at 4.5 meters per second, so you will be able to strafe extremely effectively in gunfights. However, I did want to share just an alternative here. If you want to take strafing to the next level, I also wanted to quickly share my all-out strafe build, where I put everything into strafing as fast as possible. So with this one, we're using the Zulu Op3 light barrel, the ZEM35 compensated flash hider, the FTAC MSP hand stop, the Jack Cutthroat stock, and then finally the Sakin ZX grip. And with this one, our recoil isn't nearly as good as the previous one. It does bounce around quite a bit on you, so that's going to limit your range potential a lot. However, our aim walking speed is 5 meters per second, and I don't know if there's any other gun in this game, at least primary gun, that's capable of getting even close to 5 meters per second. So I believe this is the fastest strafing primary weapon in Modern Warfare 3, and you may want to give that a shot if you're looking for the extremes. But for me personally, I do prefer my previous build. I just find it's balanced a little bit better, and you still get a really solid strafe speed out of the previous one. So like I said, that's currently my personal favorite class to use with this gun. However, I also wanted to share a Hipfire and tac stance build since this gun really excels with Hipfire and it does great with tac stance as well. So with this build, we're using the Bore 99 short barrel, the Brune Bastion angled grip, the 1 milliwatt laser box, which is not a visible laser. We've also got the X10 grip and then finally a 40 round mag so we can spray and pray a little bit. And with this one, we got an excellent tac stance spread at just 1.1 degrees. Our aim down sight speed is 215 milliseconds, but as long as we're using tac stance, we'll never actually take that full 215 milliseconds to get aimed. Our sprint out time is very nicely improved at 88 milliseconds, which is great, and our hipfire spread values are excellent. Our maximum hipfire spread is just 3 degrees, which is incredible even while moving and firing. And with that, that is going to wrap it up for today's gun guide on the brand new Superi 46. As for my thoughts on this gun, I enjoy it. I think it's a great gun. It's a solid addition to the game. I do consider it to just be a slightly better version than the Striker 45, but I don't think it's like overpowered or anything. I don't think it's the new best gun in the game. It's just a solid addition that's fun to use. I love the fact that it has a solid aim down sight strafe speed by default, and I've just been having a good time with it so far. Now, of course, these are just my opinions though, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about this gun in those comments down below. And if you guys have missed any of the previous gun guides, I will leave a link to the playlist in the description of the video. If you enjoyed this one, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.